Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Men have to see their own impact on the world. And this ain't about man gets woman. This is about man within himself. This could have halfway been a sovereign man series, but a lot of guys ain't watching on Saturdays for that reason. So I'm putting it during this week, right? And this is overall important. See, one of the issues I'm seeing is not only with men themselves, but in overall society, not really valuing the importance of man and men and what men do. Because you have a lot of more female-centric things where women, you know, you hear about the businesses that women are starting, what women are doing. Yeah, and that's cool. They doing their thing. But I'm starting to see, and it's really starting to impact, a lot of men don't realize their own importance. Now, I've talked before, especially on my money channel, about a lot of men not getting jobs. They voluntarily not working. It's a major issue. But one of the problems is their importance isn't emphasized and how important they are. Or if it is, it's like, oh, we need to do this for the women. No, men need to do it for themselves. And see, if you really look at it, I don't care what it is with the woman. Men built this. See, our nature as men is to build the physical structures, build the systems. What women, their thing is to enhance it. They don't build anything. Show me the spiritual system started by women. Seriously, show me the spiritual system. Now you do have some, but overall, most of the world, more male created spiritual systems. And that's very important. Show me the economic system created by women. And this ain't putting women down, but this is just pointing out something. The political system. Now, yeah, you get women, who've been in business, being in the spiritual leaders and all of that. But who created the systems that they are part of? Who created the economic system? Who created the political systems? You have women prime ministers and presidents. Men. Now, women, they have their thing to do, but see, men, we build, we go out, we build the system, we build the house. Now, the way it's supposed to work, we build the house, then a woman comes in and make it a home. She brings her thing to it. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, we go out and get the food, the women make it into a meal. There's nothing wrong with that. Shoot, even if you're talking the human race. Now, I remember years ago, it was, and you still might got some small subcultures that say it. You got some women actually say, well, women don't, women don't need men to have babies. You know, we had it within ourselves to have a baby anyway. Yeah, and they'll say, yeah, that was millions of years ago. Yeah, but in 2023, a woman needs a man's sperm, even if she gets a sperm donor. That's still a sperm. And indeed, the man's sperm brings information to the woman's egg. So where's it going? If they didn't need us, they wouldn't have sex. They would just pop out a baby. You know? So they need the man for that. The man's sperm brings order. It tells the egg, okay, this is what you're supposed to do. We're bringing the blueprint. Now, see, the only fairest thing is just to realize what each side does. But see, what I'm seeing is, okay, it's like woman. And yes, like I said, proud of any accomplishments, but don't act like men aren't anything. And see, that's a problem. And there's too many men are taking that in, don't feel like their own importance, so they're dropping out. But every single man has to understand, if you look at this system, it's built by men. This house was built by men. Built by men. The roads we on, built by men. This camera that I'm recording this with, by men. And yeah, women have done some stuff, created some stuff, but if you look at the overall structure, men. The man's nature is to bring order. There's a lot of disorder in the culture now because many men are dropping out. Like when I was coming up, you go in certain neighborhoods, it was the men who kept order. You didn't need the police. Most of the police might have did was just happen to live in that neighborhood. They didn't have the same impact. They stayed out of a lot of places because the men kept order. In fact, in many countries around the world, they don't really worry about a police force. The men keep order. Heck, even in the United States, you got some small towns, neighborhoods, they don't have to worry about a police presence because the men are still there. You still have the men doing stuff, but see, it's not looked upon. It's like, and see, they wondering why, okay, you're getting all this disorder. It was like, well, you telling the men, oh, you're not important, but the men are important. Because I'm gonna tell you what, I don't care who I piss off when I say this. Only reason something like, there's always some talk about feminism, but it's only enforced by big men with big guns. If the second they decide they don't want it to be around, it won't be. It's just that simple. So even there, it's important. Even there, it's important. And I know somebody might say, oh, you're going against. No, I'm just pointing out reality. Pointing out reality, because the real reality is men and women need each other. But you can't like put down one to raise up another. That doesn't work. It hasn't been working. We seeing too many men, young boys dropping out, and now what's happening is a lot of women are complaining. That's not going to be the case. That's not going to be the case where, you want to do something and it's not an impact. Now, that's overall. For each man watching, understand your own impact. Understand your own power. Understand what it is that you do. I don't care who you are as a man. I don't care. If you a man, it's your very nature of masculinity to bring order to your boundaries, to your immediate environment. And then when you get a critical mass of men who join together, they create a bigger boundary. The history of the world is shaped by men who created boundaries, who created territory, who conquered, who established spiritual systems, economic systems, political systems. But each one of those movements, each one of those groups came down to the individual man. See, understand, as a man, you have an impact. You have something, even if it's on your own space. An elder, I never forget what an elder told me one time. He said, every man needs his own space. Every single man needs it. And you still create an impact. If you have a home, that's your space. When someone comes into my home, they take off their shoes. That's because that's the rule here. That's the order here. When I'm in my car, nobody eats in my car. That's the rule there, the order. That's my world. Every man has to think. You have to see what impact you have, even if it's just your personal space. If you say, as a man, it's like, you can't cross my space without permission. You enforce that. Ain't no laws. Because I'm going to tell you something that disgusts me. It disgusts me. It straight up disgusts me. You get men out here complaining about what's going on. And yeah, you can point out what's going on. But what are you doing about it, at least in your space? I don't care what political system we got, whatever. I'm going to raise my sons a certain way. There's going to be a certain order in my space. If I'm impacting, if I have some influence over your life, this is how you're going to roll. Even on this space, I don't care. I don't care. Even on YouTube. See, I'm known. I don't have a problem deleting or blocking somebody because this is my space. Now, this is my space. I got the right to do it. Now, it's a part of a bigger space, but even then, I got a right to decide if I'm going to stay in this space or not. They don't control it. We got a mutual benefit, but I can always say, you know what? I don't want to deal with y'all no more. I'm going to go over here. And I got the ability to start a whole new website and stuff. I've been looking into that, like a server and everything. So it's possible. It's possible. But you got to have that attitude. You got to have it. It's very important. Very, very important. You got to see who you are. You got to look in the mirror and feel good about who you are as a man. And that goes beyond getting some woman. That goes beyond everything. like I said, you know, you got guys complaining, well, is this race or this man, these women, everything. What's that stopping you? I'm going to say what I said, you know. Hey, I'll bring a racial point into this. I'll bring a racial point into it. And this ain't no disrespect to like any white men when I say this. But I remember I was with a group. They were saying, well, the white man this, the white man did this. I say they got to genetically engineer a white man to stop me from doing anything. They got genetically, it's like I'm still waiting. And I've had some who tried and they found out the hard way. Nah, we can't stop them. I had some hating, definitely had some brothers hating on me. I'm like, you can't stop me. Some women try and think they doing some stuff. I'm still doing my thing. Every other man, every single man has to adopt that attitude. You gotta have that attitude like you're gonna create your world. And because you are important, all right? You are significant. That's what it means to be a man. This is very important. And look, you guys see your impact. Because men, we made this fucking world. We made it. You understand that. You are a part of that and you keeping it going. You're a small part, but you're still an important part. You know? And like I said, this don't mean putting down women or anything, because they got what they supposed to be doing. You know? And they working together. Let me end with this story real quick, because people, especially on my business channel, know I've done a lot of vending. Kind of want to get back into that a little bit. Thing is, I don't need it to make money. It just be more something to do. But I remember I was at this vending show. It was at Banneker Field down in DC, across the street from Howard University. And we was, you know, everybody was setting up on this field. It was a married couple that were together. But they were selling different things and they were both setting up. And she was kind of quiet. They were both elders, older. They weren't total elders, but I say, like at the time I was like in my 30s, early 30s. So they were older. They were in their 50s. But I kind of peeped how the order was right there. You know, she set up her stuff. He set up his. You could tell he was definitely in charge. And not only was he in charge, but he was also protective. There were some young boys around her cursing, and he stopped and said, hold up, you don't curse around my wife. These young boys apologized. He kept order. She had her stuff she was selling, he had his stuff, but they were still working together. He wasn't trying to suppress her. She wasn't sitting there like this. No, she had her stuff she was setting up. He set up his stuff. They worked together. You could see the affection between them. And also, when this man, he was an older man, he checked some young boys cursing around and said, no, you don't curse around my wife. That's how it's supposed to work. Not where she was above him or she's some little mouse. But for the men, you gotta get to the point. You gotta get to the point where you controlling your space like that. And whoever's gonna be in your space, you gotta know your impact. All right? I want y'all to seriously think about it and work towards it, because this whole thing is bigger than just getting women. This channel, even though I'm talking about getting women on here and I'm known for it, if anybody's read my books, you know I go bigger than that. That's just a small, that's a commercial to your main program. Your main program is being the man you are meant to be. So understand, men throughout history, even to this day, impact the world. So that means you're a part of that. You have an impact on the world. All right? So that's all I have for right now. I'll get back with you. Peace and blessings.